Everywhere I go in the winter months, I hear people say, I would never go ice fishing. I can't believe you guys from up north go out on the ice and fish. Well, you know something, we have a dirty little secret up here. It's not that bad. We're here at Kevin McCoy's Max Twin Bay Landing. He maintains 20 miles of plowed roads on Lake Mille. It's like driving right up to your sleeper shack. We have cabins out here to stay in, and you can fish right out of the cabin, so if you don't have all the gear, you can still come out and fish. It's such an awesome experience. Heated, they've got TVs in the thing, it's unreal. We're using it as a base camp. We've got all the gears. We drove our trucks and trailers and sleds, and we're going out for a few days of excursion fishing. This is going to be an awesome show. We're going to show you tons of great techniques, and you're going to see some fish, man. So come join us, and you too can get your next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
Walleyes move all over during various times of the day, so when ice fishing, setting up to take possible advantage of this not only serves to catch more fish, it also helps to alert you and your crew to when the walleyes are on the move, even out away from your shack or active jigging line.
Little power bait waxy right there, and I had a minnow head, which of course is gone. Just bouncing that one off the bottom. Mud flats actually on Mille.
Just getting set up and put the old snare rod down, and all I see is boom. Don't even have my transducer in the water yet. Looks like it got, oh, he's stuck on the bottom. There he comes. Oh, God. There we go. There we go. Kind of skinny one. It's good, they're hungry then. I just had to, we just moved to this spot and I put a spare rod in the second hole. Kind of even while I was just setting up here, and dropped it down, and no sooner got to the bottom than boom, and he hit it. So that was kind of a bonus fish there, just kind of getting things going. Bit it right. It's a green and white jig head there with a smaller sucker minnow, not a real big one. But this guy here, he needs some eating. He's hungry, but I like it.
Two key locations that you want to look for when you're ice fishing Mille are going to be gravel areas, and we fish several of them in the southern part of the lake, and also mud flats, the same areas that we actually catch a lot of walleyes in the summer. We're sitting actually on the contour line on a break of one of these mud flats, and you can really focus in on these contours, whether you're going to fish on the top side of that contour or all the way down in the basin. I have some holes drilled here in the shack, and I'm jigging with one rod in about 27 feet of water, 26 and a half actually, so I'm near the top side of that mud flat. And then I also have a hot box set up off down in the basin, and these fish are using these breaks as runways. They're just cruising around maybe throughout the day. They go down into that basin and go near your hot box, and then when these fish come up on the breaks, you're setting up your jigging. So very important, check those areas, the gravel areas, the mud flat areas, awesome places to catch Mille walleyes, and also spread your presentation out along the break, and all day long you can put walleyes on top of the ice.
Looks like a good fish there, Mr.
Yeah.
Man, you worked that one a long time. That was fun to watch.
No doubt.
Here she comes.
Oh yeah.
Nice one. Woo! Great fish. There you go, buddy.
I'll take that all day. Look at that thing chowed the flutter
That
spoon.
is what we are looking for.
That one took a while. It
Nice
would
work.
not come off the bottom. I kept trying to get it off like 3 or 4 feet. It wouldn't, so I finally just went down and like force fed it and just right in its face really hard, and just, I mean, look at that fish.
She ate it. That was fun to watch. Nice job.
Nice when it works out that way.
Well, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful Mille chunk.
Uh-huh.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. And Motor Guide. Accuracy matters. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Power Pole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors. Using a combination of jigging rods, dead sticks, and remote jigging station setups, Keith, Gary, Chase, John, and Joe are able to pick off walleyes moving along the edges of mud flats and the steep breaks near them on the southern part of Minnesota's Mille Lake.
I don't know. I mean, it hits so hard.
Yeah, we're right on the. This is such a steep edge here.
Come on, get
On the bottom of the hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. Well, look at here. What the heck? Somebody's old line or something.
Maybe someone unsuccessfully caught him.
Yeah. The old nano or whatever you got on there's a little stronger, I guess, huh?
Wow. He just blasted it. Look at that, Keith. That's right where you want that
Well,
jig.
the cool thing is this flat we're on has got such a steep edge. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we're like 27 feet there and like 31 right here. I mean, it ain't 20 feet apart, and you must be cruising along that. You know, Mille has kind of had a little bit of a downfall over the years, but I tell you what, the old girl is back. It's just always great fishing here. The fish are coming back strong. They're big and they're healthy. This is fun.
Oh, there was just no doubt.
Let's clean this little deal up.
One thing that all good ice anglers do is they try to make every fish they encounter as aggressive as possible. For me, walleye fishing, that means that I am constantly kind of fluttering my spoon throughout the water column, and the second that I mark a fish, I like to crank up my cadence and start moving it away from that fish to try to make that fish chase it. If that doesn't work, I'm instantly making changes. It's really kind of an instant gratification scenario where if that fish doesn't instantly react and chase after my bait, I want to slow it down, get down to its level, and try that. If that doesn't work, I might go to a longer jig stroke, make my bait flutter a little bit. If that doesn't work, I might go to a quick little lighter cadence right in that fish's face. But the most important part is the fact that I'm making those changes very quickly. So if that fish comes in and that mark starts growing on my sonar, it's telling me I'm doing the right thing. I keep doing what I'm doing. The second that that mark dissipates or something changes, I want to make a very quick change to try to change that fish's mind. You don't have all day to trick one of these big walleyes, so you want to make sure that you're getting after that fish, getting right in its face and trying to make it bite as quick as possible.
He's,
There's a good
yep,
mark.
there he is. Nice. Pounded it.
Oh, good head
This
fish.
is a good
That looks
fish,
like
man.
A good fish.
Yeah.
Nice, buddy. I didn't know who.
Yeah, I didn't either. We were
Somebody's
both
gonna
at
bite.
the same level, and we saw him come up. And
Solid
yeah,
fish.
wide head shakes. This is a
Oh, that's
nice
a good
fish
fish.
here. There's a swivel. He's gonna be. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
There's a solid fish.
Oh, look at
nice,
that.
buddy. All right. That's
Just
what we're
a
looking
jig in
for.
the middle. Look at that. You get a hold of him. There we go.
There
That's
it is.
where I wanted to have him. That was awesome. I mean, we
Beautiful.
saw him come on the bottom, and we
like-
were both sitting at the exact same level.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Both lifting.
Boom.
He wanted what
job,
I had
dude.
to offer. That's a good fish.
Yeah.
Healthy, man.
Love it.
They're healthy, aren't they?
Great fish. Wow.
Well, let's get that one back, buddy.
All right.
There we go. Oh yeah.
There she goes.
Sight Bites. Real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
We all love to catch big walleyes, and if you go on to really catch big walleyes, a lot of times you just quite frankly have to go to a big body of water, whether that's the Great Lakes or the reservoirs out west or some of the big natural lakes, Mille and Leech and things like that. So you got to have a boat that can handle some water. And oftentimes I get asked the question, what's the minimum size I can go to and still be safe out there and still be fishable? I think that this ZV-18 really fits the bill for that. You know, it's almost 19 feet long, put a 200 horse engine on it. I fished it out in Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, out in the reservoirs, fished it everywhere, and it handles the water just fine. Are you gonna be able to run 60 miles an hour across 2-foot waves? No. But are you gonna be able to get in even if the waves get to 4 and 5, 6 foot tall, get in safely with this boat? Absolutely. So it's good for that. But the beauty of this boat is it's still really, really fishable. A lot of the things that we have in our big tournament boats are actually in this particular boat. Things like the big rod locker. We got plenty of storage in the back with the lift out containers that allow you to get back into your pumps and things like that. The consoles are exactly identical to our big boat, so we can mount as many electronics on this as we want. Big glove box, big storage in front. In fact, plenty of room for an 18-foot boat. 3 guys can easily troll back here. I got a big front deck for any of the shivering or jigging I might want to do. So this ZV-18 is a great boat to get you out on the big water, get you to the big walleyes, and get you home safe.
I want to review the 3 techniques that we've been using to catch fish here on Mille Lacs. The first is a sidewinder spoon on the jig stick. You use a minnow head on the end of it. It's been deadly. And you work that kind of traditionally, you know, with the lift drop and then shake once in a while. A second jigging technique that's been really deadly has been the new clam leech flutter spoon. It's got a little hair dressing. You don't even use a minnow head with this, but you fish this quite a bit more aggressive than you do the sidewinder. You shake it, you jerk it, you pop it, you go up, you go down, and you get them excited and they just smash it. So it's been a really good new spoon. And then the last technique is what you will use on the end of your snare rods and the hot box system. This is a 16th ounce Pro Elite jig head from Mustad. 16th is kind of the key. It's easy for the fish to suck in. You want to lightly lip hook a fathead minnow or a shiner on the end of this. These are going to be 3 bread and butter setups. We went through a lot of different lure types, and these are the 3 that produce. So always check out different baits until you really get the fish zoned in on a series of presentations that'll work for you.
That was a nice one. What are you using?
This is a sidewinder spoon. Normally I use a smaller one, but put a little bigger one on because they fall with so much flash and flutter.
Nice.
Yeah, I like this bait.
Oh, we're hooked up.
Oh, get it, John, get it. The reel's on the left-hand side.
Right. Wrong-handed. Nice.
How's he feel?
Oh, wow, that's a lot bigger.
You got to reel it wrong-handed,
This is challenging.
I had a regular 16th ounce jig with a fat head on that one, John.
Like a tropical environment in there.
Oh yeah, the whole steak wide open. You need to come and visit me a little more often. Ooh, this is decent fish. Ooh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that one.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Johnny, you did it left-handed too.
It was the right place, right time until I saw the reel. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I got to do this on the other side.
I'm just using this little bitty XPS 16th ounce jig lightly through the lips with the fat head. This is my killer bait. Every place I walleye fish, I always have at least one of these down. What a nice fish.
We're using 2 different techniques here to catch these walleyes. The first is some kind of spoon fishing, and for this we're being very, very aggressive and really working it. The other one is just the opposite side of the spectrum. We're actually using a dead rod with a jig and a minnow and just letting it sit there and waiting for the walleyes to come to it. Now, 2 different techniques, but there are some similarities. The one big similarity is that the main line is going to be some kind of no stretch line. I like to use 10-pound nanofill, very, very much no stretch, especially for the jigging, lots of sensitivity. For both of them, we'll also though want to go to a fluorocarbon leader. I'd say a little bit longer than usual because of the clear water, maybe a 3-footer or so. But also, I went down to a little bit lighter one. Normally I'd run an 8 or 10-pound test fluorocarbon leader. From Mille Lacs and the clear water, 6-pound is what I've been running. That's kind of where the similarities end though as far as equipment, because the rods are very, very different. For jigging rod, what you want is a fairly stiff rod. You want one with good hard backbone. You want something that's got a lot of sensitivity so you can feel what's going on down there and, you know, quickly detect the bites and set the hook. The snare rod, the dead stick here, is completely different. For this, you want to have that fish being able to grab the bait and slowly have more pressure put on him. And in fact, right away, you don't want him to hardly feel it at all. You want him to think there's nothing there. It's just a nice, easy meal. So 2 different rods. One kind of cool comparison I can show you is if you grab the 2 rods and you pull on them the same, you'll see a completely different action in the rod. You see the jig rod is much stiffer, whereas the dead rod you can see has a ton of bend out at the end. Very, very limber, but yet when you get back here a little bit on that snare rod, it's still got lots of backbone to set the hook hard. So two completely different techniques, completely opposite ends of the spectrum, but both are catching fish out here on Mille.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. Strike King, legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
In this day and age, there seems to be an app for everything. And with these Mercury engines, there's actually this Vessel View mobile app. You link it into your smart craft gauges, and basically what it shows you is exactly what's going on with the engine, including a few extra things that a smart craft doesn't show you. We're just sitting here at idle. I'm going 600 RPMs. If you just filled up your boat, you can go into the fuel feature, and you can basically click in how much fuel you just added. There's 27 gallons left in this specific boat right here. And then it'll tell you things like distance to empty. It'll also tell you based on how fast you're running, time to empty. So if you're running around and want to make sure that basically you're going to have enough gas and you want to fish for another hour, things like that will compute. The next thing that it's going to do that I think is really important for all anglers and for all boaters is it's going to store observed faults. If there were any faults on your engine, obviously there's none on this one, but if you have an alarm that goes off, it's going to send you notifications to show you what's going on with your engine. Basically, it has a maintenance log. We're in Keith Kavajec's boat. Shocker. Engine maintenance is due now. There's some things that he obviously needs to get done. Just typical deals. Total engine hours, things that need to be checked on, and then you can also log the maintenance and make sure that that engine's running tip-top shape all year long. Keith looks like he needs to go in and get something done. One of the things I really like in this app is you can go into the preferred dealer. You can basically punch in where you're at. We're real close to Appleton, Wisconsin, so we'll punch in the zip code right there. And it's going to find all the closest dealers that will be able to help you out with any issues, with any maintenance things to keep your boat up to date. You click on them, you can call right from the app. So not only does this Mercury Vessel View app show you exactly what's going on with your engine, give you details while you're running, but it tells you what you need to do to keep that Mercury engine running in tip-top shape all year long.
Finding the walleyes has only been, as per usual, half the battle. Once into a pod, enticing them to bite is a fast-paced challenge, one worth perfecting.
Yeah, it does.
It's a lot like the thrill experienced during a figure eight when muskie fishing, since oftentimes you can see the walleyes and even other types of fish react to your lure in real time.
I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, that was going to be just another typical walleye. Nice.
It's got good length to it too, just a beast.
Lake Mille, it's a massive body of water. Two key things that we've been able to hone in on is the gravel humps and then the mud humps. As far as the gravel goes, what we found is it's smaller fish but more numbers. So with the gravel, you'll have larger boulders on top of isolated humps, and then they'll taper down into gravel. And that's what we focused on. It's a really slow taper and the fish are just kind of scattered out on there. Now the other thing we're focused in on is the mud. The mud on Mille is really, really unique because the edges of it are really sharp breaks. One easy but effective thing that we've done is when we pull up to these mud breaks is actually trace the edge of that with our vehicle. We got a little bit of snow so you can easily see the track, and with that there's no guessing that you're on the break. And what we'll do is we'll just drill along that edge, kind of weave in and out, and then we'll just fish along that break, and then we're able to connect with some nicer fish out there on the mud.
Good fish, guys. Good fish. Backfill. Hurry up. It's a good one.
Well, it looks like it must be a pretty good one.
I haven't really got it up very far. Got out here and it was just pegged.
Well, it better be good because you got me over my warm shack, Keith. You got him coming up. He's big. He's big.
That was moving around out there. Oh. Here. Fit that. I just had a little jig head on. In fact, here's one of my old minnows. I'm just using a big old sucker minnow.
Looks like a 16th ounce jig, huh?
Yeah, well, 8 ounce, yeah. We're just off the mud flat just a little bit here, kind of right on the bottom edge. My shack is up a little shallower, and then down here I can run this a little deeper out here.
I think they're just using these breaks as a runway.
Yeah. I like it. We intercepted them
I
on
like
the
it
runway.
too.
There's the minnow still in his mouth. He's like, oh, that's a good minnow. Well, I'll get him back in the water. I'm sure he's going to be happy to be back in the water.
Oh, tail flips.
Goodbye.
I gotta start over.
Try it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be different.
Yep. And the last.
Okay. Now I got the secret jig. I did it again. Chase just likes making fun of me. Ah, you loser! Sloppy! Loser!
The Next Bite would like to thank Kevin McCoy and Max Twin Bay Landing. For year-round fishing and family fun, camping, or restaurant information, visit maxtwinbay.com.